Well, I'm here with Steve from Progress. And Steve, you know, it's summertime. We're out in our yards a lot more. And today we're going to be talking about lighting. Tell us, first of all, what is it about lighting that makes it special in a yard?
Well, lighting is kind of the finishing touch to a landscape. And what it does is it tends to show off the landscape at a time when typically you won't be noticing things in the dark. It'll also get you an opportunity to be in the landscape past the daylight hours. So it gives you a bigger time frame to use your landscape.
Now, certainly lighting changes just like all things change in our society, but what are some of the big changes in outdoor lighting?
Well, generally the biggest right now is the use of LED. And LED is really a new technology in landscape lighting, and it's really pretty exciting right now what's coming out.
And you know, we were chatting earlier, Steve, but I was always under the impression that LED was a very cool burning light, but tell us a little bit more about that, because that's not always true.
No, LED will generate quite a bit of heat. In fact, actually it tends to generate more heat, from my experience, than typical regular incandescent or halogen lighting. And in fact, the housing on an LED light is typically metal, because the metal has to transmit the heat away from the bulb.
So Steve, as a homeowner, what are the questions I should be thinking about before I contact Progress?
Well, generally you want to make sure you know whether you want lighting for area lighting. Do you want it for display of certain plant material? Are you going to be using it for entertaining, pathways, safety? So those are some really important issues to determine first.
So Steve, what are the differences of these three type of lights? What are their purposes for?
Well, the one you're holding would mainly be for a walkway, and it's a light that will give you a very relatively small area of lighting for walkways, driveways, that shines down. These two types of lights, this one would be a real broken up, wide angle, soft type of lighting that would be used for a wall, a low shrub, a low plant material, some garden art possibly. And this would be an uplight that would shine up into a tree. Even though this is a small lamp, this actually generates quite a bit of light. And it's a very focused beam that can shoot easily 20 or 30 feet up into a tree and light the whole center. It could also be used to light up your house if you want to show off your house or some distant object that you want to get some light on.
Wow. And you know, there's a lot of reasons why we want to be outside and enjoy our yard in the summertime. But you know, for some of us just really are concerned with spending a lot of money on lighting. Now, you know, you can go to a Home Depot, a Lowe's, you can go to a big box store and buy some kits, but let's talk a little bit about why that might not be a great investment long term.
Well, the biggest difference between a kit that you would buy from a retail store and one you would have installed commercially would be the quality and the grade of the metal. For instance, this lamp is heavy brass, it's very good waterproofing. You want to make sure that no water gets into a light like this. So typically the ones that you get professionally are going to be more resistant to weather. They're going to last longer. The transformers are going to generate more wattage to allow you to have more lights. You'll get a lot more life out of a commercial.
And the transformers really are a big deal, because you said that the heavier a transformer is, the more important it is. You know, the ones that you get in pre-box things usually are like 5 pounds, but
exactly.
How much do y'all say yours weigh?
A larger commercial transformer, even for a yard, can easily weigh 15 to 25 pounds.
Wow. And
again, not necessarily is that always the case, but the reason that it just tells you how much wiring is inside that transformer, and that tells you how much wattage it can process.
And you know, one of the other great things, Steve, I think about going with a professional like Progress is there really is a style to it. There's a design to outdoor landscaping. Can you give us a couple hints of what you guys look at when you go into a landscape?
Yeah, it definitely varies. Our biggest example will be wattage. You can't use the same wattage on all bulbs and all plants. If you have a larger plant, you need to use a larger wattage. You need to use a tighter angled beam to shoot light further up into a tree. If you're trying to light a low bushy tree, you would use a wider angle with maybe a lower wattage bulb. So those are all things that we use and we adjust to make sure that the lighting is really going to give the customer what they want.
Now, a lot of people are really trying to be green and think about, you know, the future. They're going with solar, but that might not be the best way.
No, solar is a great idea, but the problem is that, especially in our climate during the winter when it's cloudy, you have very little regeneration of power, and they don't last very long. They don't give off a lot of light. They'll usually burn down to a dim amount within a few hours. And
they do make great garden art. I mean, they're quite attractive, but they might not be what you would want as lighting up your landscape.
No, I think for aesthetics, they're fine, but if you really want true lighting that's going to run all night, or at least during the time that you're going to be needing it, you really want a wired-in system.
Well, obviously, there's a whole lot to learn about outdoor lighting. You know, do your homework, look around, and if for more information, we invite you to go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to Progress. Always a pleasure, Steve. Thanks so much.
Thanks.